Sure. It's just a great time of year. We're extremely excited, ready to get it started. I think we're on practice number 18, so we're ready to play somebody besides ourselves. The guys have been working really hard. I think we've got a great group. We've been battling some injuries. That's the main thing that's been holding us back a little bit, but our guys are we're starting to get them one by one back on the basketball court. And I'm expecting a great season this year. I think we'll have a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. I think we'll be able to score the basketball. I think the key with this team is how well are we going to defend and how tough are we going to be. If we can establish the defense like we did the last 2 years, I think we have a chance to have an outstanding season this year. But that's the big question mark. That's what we're working on daily. We sat around today and we were watching film from yesterday, and I was beating my head against the desk like, are we ever going to get it, defensively? But we've got a lot of new faces on our team. A lot of guys have been injured, so they've missed practice time. So everything's new for them, and we're throwing a lot of information out at them. But I'm excited we had the opportunity to scrimmage this weekend. That'll give us a better indication of where we are because we'll get to play somebody else. And I'll tell us a little bit, where we stand and what we really, really need to work on. So, but I'm looking forward to it. We got a very tough schedule. Get to play the #1 team in the country in Kentucky. So that's a great opportunity for our guys. And I know the Sun Belt Conference is going to be very good this year, and we're excited for that challenge. So, anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Scott, the move to the Sun Belt, what are the advantages? Because it's not as if you haven't seen some of these teams before.
I think the advantages is the travel is not quite as difficult as the WAC. Sometimes it's a good thing and a bad thing, to play in a new conference. It'll be an adjustment getting used to the officiating because every conference, the officials call it a little bit differently. As y'all saw from last year, we had a tough time. Those officials, we just got used to all the ones in the Southland, and then we moved to the WAC, and you start from scratch, and now we're moving to the Sun Belt. So those coaches that have been in the league already have relationships with those officials. It just it puts you a little bit more at ease when you know the guys versus when you're coming in and you're the new kid on the block. So that's a little bit of an unknown. I think it's great for our guys to play different teams that we don't know a whole lot about. I think that they're looking forward to that challenge, going to new places. It'll be a great opportunity for them to bond. I mean, the road trips, as you know, that's where the guys really come together and bond, and that's where the memories are made. So we're looking forward to that. It'll be great. The fact that we've had 3 different conferences in 3 years is great for the guys. As a basketball player, to get to go to play all those different places, that's pretty exciting for them. So the Sun Belt, though, I think should be really, really good this year. As I was going down the rosters and looking at some of the stuff, it looked like the top 5 or 6 teams, they're all returning the majority of their players. And then Texas State's coming in, they return almost everybody. We're coming in, we lost 4 senior starters, so we have a little bit more, that we've got to overcome than some of the other schools. But, when conference comes, it's no matter what conference it is, you could have the last place team playing the first place team, and if they're ready, the last place team can win. And if the first place team isn't ready, they're going to lose the game. That's the way it is in any sport. So we just have to be ready to play every single night, and I think we'll have a very competitive team, and of course we expect to win the Sun Belt Championship. Yes.
Talk a little bit about the Kentucky game.
Yes, the Kentucky game's a great opportunity for our guys. They're, like I said, they're #1 in the country. We've got a lot of guys that would love to play professionally. They have, 3 freshmen that are going to be lottery picks. At least that's what everybody's saying. They have, probably 5 or 6 NBA guys on their team. So it gives our guys an opportunity to get exposed. In my mind, what I was thinking is, I want to do something in the NCAA tournament. So how can we prepare our guys for that opportunity? And to me, the best way to do it is play the very best team in the country, which should be Kentucky going into the season. And from there, no matter who we face in the NCAA tournament, it should be an easier game than that game. So one, our guys will get a great opportunity to get some footage against playing, potential NBA guys, and that's a great chance for them to really showcase their skills and show what they're about. And then we've got the opportunity to do something that's never been done before, beat a #1 team in the country. So we look forward to that challenge. Yes.
Coach, you mentioned some of the injuries the team has had so far. How far away are they from being where you want them to be at?
From the injured players being 100%?
From the whole team, say.
From the whole team, we're a ways away. Shaq, we're just getting him back out on the court, and he's limited in what he can do, but you can just see he helps our defense so much because he plays so hard. He has that toughness. He communicates well on the basketball court. So even when he's out there and he can't really move the way he wants to, he still helps our defense. But I would say he's probably 3 or 4 weeks away before he's probably moving as quickly as he wants to. Anthony Walker, we won't have him back until the season's already started. He's still in the cast, and they won't remove it till, I believe, after the Boise State game is the earliest his cast could come off. Greg Gainey's battling some hip injuries. He's got, I believe, a torn labrum that he's dealing with, and I think it's kind of a deal where he can play with it, but he also may need surgery as well. So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out with him. And so some days he has great days, and other days it's really bothering him. So I would say we're still probably 5-6 weeks away before we're full strength, and that's assuming everybody else stays healthy. But that's the way it is in any college sport. I mean, there's going to be guys going down, and the next guy has to be ready to step up. So regardless of whether those guys are ready or not, we've got to be ready to go. Yes.
Last season, there was at times there was a real struggle to score the ball.
Yes.
So how do you see this team squad offensively?
Way better than last year, but there's a flip side to that. I don't know if they're going to be as good defensively. I mean, we plan make it miserable for them in practice until they are that good, but we haven't seen that yet out of this group. But offensively, it's no comparison to last year. Just Lonnie McClanahan, point guard we signed from Kilgore, who's been, playing the point in place of Shaq right now. I didn't realize how good he is. He's unstoppable getting in the paint. So, and then he's very good at passing it out to our shooters and getting them open shots. Reggie Dow sat out last year. We knew he was going to be probably our most prolific scorer in practice so far. He's proven to do that. Once we get Shaq back out, we'll have, Reg or Shaq and Lonnie. I would think those are 3 of the quickest, best guards around. So I would think we're in great shape there. I think we'll be able to score the basketball. Brandon Edwards is returning from last year. Obviously, Jamel's had some great games where he can really score. We saw, I think at OU last year, he had close to 20 in that game. So he's a guy that could go off. So I would think there's not going to be any of those times where we're wondering if we can ever get a basket. There may be those times where we're wondering if we can ever stop the opposing team. But when we get to that point where we can expect to stop like we did last year with our team, we have the makings of being a great basketball team. Because the good thing about it, it's hard to really teach guys how to score and make it easy. It's a little bit easier to teach them how to defend and play the way you want to. So we have the tough thing in place. Now we just got to get their mindset right on the defensive end of the floor. Yes.
What did you learn last year? You kind of had some ups and downs, and you were kind of 1 game away from the tournament. What did you learn from last year that you kind of implement this year?
Well, I felt like our pressure was a great weapon for us defensively. I felt like when we started going full court more and doing our 2-1-2 press back to our switching man-to-man, I felt like that kind of helped change the season. It proved to me that if you play great defense and you are tough, you can win basketball games, which we were able to do last year. So I would think those are the main things, because there were probably times at the beginning of the year, I didn't know what to expect with that team. Like after the Denver game, you look at the schedule and what lies ahead after we had, like 4 points, 15 minutes into the game. You're wondering, can this team ever score? But you know, they were tough guys. I mean, they really were, and we got better as the season progressed, and so that proved to me that if you do the little things right, you can be successful and win basketball games. Yes.
Coach, talk a little bit about the CPC and how it's helped development of the players we have now and getting recruits to campus.
Sure. I think that's where the best thing about this facility is it does help them become better basketball players, because when we were at Texas Hall, the guys couldn't get in a practice facility. There was just no access. They'd have to go over to the MAC and share a basket, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not as convenient. Like, our guys, they live right across the street in apartments, so they walk across the street, they swipe their card, they get in there. We've got shooting machines in there. They can go grab a coach and bring a coach in there. I mean, it's almost 24-hour access for them. So without a doubt, our guys have been in the gym way more than they were before this facility was built. And then I think on top of that, I think as a college basketball player, you walk in this building, you know that you're expected to win and you're expected to be good, versus I think when you walked in Texas Hall, you look at it and you feel pretty miserable when you walk through there. And so I think it kind of helps our guys, you know, just psychologically being in this building, that there's expectations and they're supposed to do things. So it's helped tremendously there. Obviously in recruiting, you know, recruits are blown away. Most of them still don't even know about it, but when we give them a tour and they walk around, they're shocked. If they've been to other places around the country, you know, every single one of them will say this is just as good as what anybody else in the country has. So yeah, it's a tremendous advantage in recruiting as well. Yes.
How important is it to have, I guess, school fans and spirit at your games?
I think that is probably one of the most important things around. You know, and I wanted to look at it from a scientific. We always look at facts and stats, and you know, so I went back and looked last year, and you know, every game we had over 2,000, with the exception of the Oklahoma game, we won. In the Oklahoma game, I mean, we were probably a 10-point underdog going into the game, and we gave them everything they wanted. Now, if we would have played at Oklahoma with last year's team, you know, who knows, we could have lost by 15 plus in that game. But the fans really gave our guys energy. They helped us get over the top. So I think, yeah, it's especially the students, because the students are the ones that are making the noise. They're yelling at the officials. They're banging on the side. They really give our guys energy and help them play harder, and especially on the defensive end of the floor. That's where they help out the most. You know, I think at times probably last year our guys put a little bit too much pressure on themselves, and you know, we maybe weren't quite as good as we should have been here offensively, but I think on the defensive side of the floor, you know, we're really good, and the fans are a big part of that. Yes.
Greg Gainey got 4 starts last year and made a pretty big impact when he came in off the bench. You looking forward? Do you think he's ready to take it on in full 40 minutes? Or? Well,
I hope so. He's been battling some hip issues, so he's not 100% right now. He's probably 75%. He's missed, I don't know, probably 5 weeks maybe. I mean, he's been out. We're just now getting him back in, and I mean, he is a guy that's capable of playing, you know, 25, 30 minutes a game and starting for us. I don't know if he'll ever get it back healthy 100% to where he's moving around like he was at the end of last year, but he is a guy that can really benefit. Anytime you have seniors on your team, I mean, it's going to help the basketball team out. But he's a dynamic player because he's so athletic and can get to the basket, and you can interchange him, and he can defend 1 through 5. So he does help in a lot of areas for us.
Do you expect him to be able to play later in the year?
I hope so. That's just going to be a day-by-day thing with him, and he's just going to have to let our trainer know how he feels, and you know, they'll probably have to try different treatments on him, and you know, you just don't really know how long it can hold up, but we'll just keep our fingers crossed with it. Yes.
You mentioned Lonnie and Redger coming into the team. Can you talk about the other guys that are
Sure.
new to the program? Are they ready to play now?
They are. Brandon Williams is a 6'9" or 6'10" freshman with a 7-foot wingspan. He's a guy that's worked extremely hard. He's been a pleasant surprise for us. He's put on a little bit of weight. He's always in the gym. Every time we walk by, he's in there getting shots up. He was in the office today with Coach P watching tape, watching how bad he was defensively. But I mean, he's got a lot of prospect because he can block shots, he can rebound, he works hard. He's going to be a great player for us. So he's a guy that I think could easily play 15 minutes a game for us, maybe more depending on the circumstance. He's a sponge. He's learning every day. He played at Episcopal High School in Houston, which is a private school, and they're one of the best teams in the state for private school, but it's quite an adjustment going from that level to the Division I level. But he's adapted really well, and he's probably the hardest working guy that I've ever coached that's over 6'9". I mean, he's in there all the time, and he really wants to be good. So he's going to improve tremendously over the next 5 or 6 months. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Anthony Walker. He's out with a wrist injury. Second or third day in practice, we were doing a shot blocking drill because he's a tremendous shot blocker. He goes up, falls down on his wrist, breaks his wrist. They had to do, I think, like a bone graft in there, and that's why it's taken so long. He's been out since July, and he's still in the cast. And so we're hoping after the Boise State maybe that he gets to progress and start playing. But he's been doing some of our defensive stuff. Anything that we don't do with the basketball, he does. He's in great physical shape. He's running great for us. So he'll be ready to go once he does. It's his non-shooting hand, so he can shoot free throws. But, it's still going to be an adjustment because he isn't playing 5-on-5. He's not working on all the plays we're running, the defensive scheme. So it's going to take him a little bit of time. But he's a guy that we're probably projecting him to be a potential starter for us coming into the season. So he'll help us out quite a bit. We have a freshman, 6'8" freshman, Jorge Bilbao from Spain. He's another guy that's worked extremely hard. The biggest adjustment for him that he has to work on is the speed of the game. His foot speed is a little bit slow compared to what we'll probably face this year, but he's a sponge. He's in the gym all the time working. He does do some things that big guys don't do. I mean, he's your typical foreign player that can, put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, pretty good shooter, very good offensively. And his foot speed has increased quite a bit since he got here during the summers. And, our new strength coach, Coach Wardell, is going to work with him a little bit extra to try and build that. But he's going to be a great player down the road for us. Is there anybody else? Oh, that's Stewart's pretty much. Back. Yeah, Stewart sat out last year. Stewart's 7'1", 7'3" wingspan. He's a guy that's got a ton of upside. He would be the projected starter going into the season at the center position. Really great communicator, can block some shots, has a nice touch, a really good passer, which will help our offense. I think we do pass the ball a whole lot better than we did last year. So I would think you would see a rise in assists and a decline in turnovers, which was a little bit of an Achilles heel for us last year. At least let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Although I don't know about that yesterday's practice when Mr. Baker showed up. It was a little bit sloppy, but it has been better for the most part this year. I feel like we are definitely passing the ball and moving the ball a lot better this year. Yes?
Historically, your teams have always had this, as you described, like pitbull, scorpion type mentality. Is that kind of carrying over to this year, or is this a little bit of a different?
We're probably some Labradors right now, so we've got a ways to go. We had our defensive boot camp, and I did see some positive signs where I was like, maybe this group can, turn the corner and become pit bulls and tough guys, and they ran extremely well. We put them through some mental toughness things. I mean, they ran 41 suicides. It's 5:59 in the morning, and made 40 out of 41. So the times that we asked them to make. So they showed a lot of toughness there. We made progress. I saw some guys step up leadership-wise. I saw some guys push themselves beyond what they thought was possible. You know, they going in when we had it on the board, we had it on the like butcher paper what they were going to run and showed it to them. And, I mean, it was literally probably an hour and a half of running straight. And they look at it and there's no way I can do this, but they finished it and accomplished it. And so I think that'll help us down the road when it's time to get that defensive stop and we're in overtime and we're on the road and we have to get a stop. We can look back and draw back from how hard they worked and how they were able to overcome a little bit of adversity and find a way to get it done.
Is that good, guys?
Oh, one more question.
Yes.
With the new hand check rule
Yes.
that took effect, how does that kind of impact your team?
It has completely changed everything. You know, I'm very concerned about it because we hand checked a lot last year. I'll just be honest. I mean, every time we press, we were hand checking somebody. You know, that's the way we play defense, and it seemed to me like every great defensive team was hand checking and fouling, and that's why scoring was so low. So we've been teaching it the right way. There's still some hand checking going on in practice, but we've been alerting our guys and showing it. But they're saying everything's going to be a block. There's not going to be hardly any charges. Well, we were great at taking charges last year, so now you're taking away two things that we were great at. So it is an adjustment, and the unknown is how are they really going to call it? Are they still going to call some charges? Are they going to call it as soon as you put a finger on them? Are they going to let you know? So you don't really know. We're teaching them the right way, and that's what I told our guys yesterday. Now, if you get hand checked and they don't call it, you got to be able to adjust and know, okay, well, maybe we need a hand check a little bit too, because this is the way the officials are calling it. And then if you know they do call the first quick one, then we've got to make sure that we get our hands off and don't touch them, because we don't want to put the other team and let them shoot 40 free throws and we shoot 8 like what happened in our last game of the season last year.
Can you tell them to be aggressive going into the season, or do you have to wait a little bit to kind of feel it out?
Offensively, I'm going to tell him to be super aggressive. A guy like Lonnie that can get to the basket at will, we're going to tell him to put his head down and get in the paint and try and, get to the free throw line. I believe he was like top 2 or 3 in the country in junior college and going to the free throw line. So we want to take advantage of that, because if you don't hand check him, there's not many guys in the country that'll be able to stay in front of him. So he's got to use that to his advantage. And then we have other guys, Redger can get to the basket. He needs to utilize that, as well as some other guys on our team. But offensively, we need to attack the paint, and then defensively, we've got to be sound and really guard the ball and do a better job with our closeouts. That's one area that we were very poor at in practice so far, is when the ball skipped over and you run out to guard your man, we're getting smoked off the dribble. We got to do a better job containing the basketball, because that's where it starts. If you don't guard the basketball, you're going to be done this year.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
You want to go out there and find John?